VirtualMan, shall I say, back at it again. Call me gullible, but I hear this is the last one. The Holy Grail, 256 gigabyte running RetroPie 4.4 for the Raspberry Pi 3B and B+. Alright, we are in all games 8828, and man, there's some good games on here. Huge PlayStation collection, Dreamcast games, Nintendo 64, plus all your old systems as well. Those wondering about the size of this image, it does work for a 256 gigabyte SD card. I recommend the Samsung or the SanDisk. You can find links in the description. The actual file size of this .img file is 221 gigabytes. And that's 238,337,348,000 bytes. I rounded it up. So if you have that much space on an SD card, you will be able to fit this on there. Let's go ahead and see exactly what we have on here. So starting with arcade, we have 2,308 arcade games. All these have pictures and video snaps, as you see here. I am running this on a Raspberry Pi 3B+. It is running RetroPie version 4.4, so that means it's going to work not only for the Raspberry Pi 1.2 gigahertz, but also the 1.4. You can also overclock this with either Pi you're running. If you're running the 1.2 gigahertz, I recommend at least a 1.3 overclock. If you're running the 1.4 gigahertz, I recommend at least a 1.5 gigahertz overclock. You can also mess with some other things as well and get some increased performance out of the $35 Raspberry Pi. Atari 2600, 630. ColecoVision 140. Again, all the artwork's done for you. All the stuff is there, beautiful. Dreamcast, you have 15 total. Here's your 15 games for you. These are going to run a little bit better on the Pi 3B+, and you can always add your own as well. Game & Watch 55, Game Boy 562, Game Boy Advance 136, and if I remember right, he has all VirtualMan. I love his setup. He has bezel setup. He has the bezel pack from Motion Blue version 6 setup, and he has the resolution on the portables not stretched out, as you see here. You get the beautiful bezel, and love it. You know, his images often make my top 1, and I can tell you right now, before I even finish this review, that this image is going to get my top 1 as far as all 200 and 256 gigabyte images that I've seen for the Raspberry Pi. Intellivision 120, Sega Master System 271, Sega Genesis, not Mega Drive, but again, I believe this has the Motion Blue version 6 script on it, so if you want to switch it to which is also Easy Hacks helped with that. You could switch it to Mega Drive with just a click of a button in RetroPie setup. But 766 there. Nintendo 64, all 321. And with the Raspberry Pi 3B+, if you get it to 1.5, it can run a lot of these games pretty well. Neo Geo 141, they just announced they're going to have a 40th anniversary thing launch soon. Who knows what that's going to be, but Neo Geo is such a great system, a lot of great games. I'm excited for that. And you can play them now on this image. Nintendo 781, NES. Again, all the video snaps, metadata, everything's scraped for you. Ports. Now this is really cool. All these Dooms and Quakes are full versions. They're not shareware versions. So you are going to be able to play all the different levels. The other thing to note is it is bound for your controller. Or you can always go keyboard and mouse. You know, you have both options and they're both set up for you. PSP Minis, not PSP. You got all of them. You got 321 Super Crash. And again, it's a portable. So you're going to notice that when I launch this, you're going to get the not only the loading screen, because you have the loading screen scripts on here as well, but you're also going to get the perfect picture frame for the PSP Mini, as you see here, not stretched out. Really nice to see. All right, and my controller's detected. Boom. That's all set up for you. Good to go. PlayStation. So here's where this image shines. 342 PlayStation games. I'm going to do a little hard scroll here so you can see what kind of you're getting into. You know, everything from RPGs to fighters to Mortal Kombat, sports games, you name it. Racing games, Tempest, Simpsons, all sorts of good. Wipeout. There you go. So it's your PlayStation. 342. They're all compressed, ready to go. Still have music. ScumVM. A lot of images don't have this. You know, sometimes I talk these up a lot, but you know, I do recommend trying out Full Throttle. I think everybody needs to play Full Throttle once in their life. Really great game. Grew up on that game. Loved it. Leisure Suit Larry. Just do know that that's a mature game. And The Dig. LucasArts. You know, so Star Wars LucasArts game, really cool as well. Sega 32X, 32 games in here. Sega CD, not all of them, I'm glad, because they do take up a lot of space, but you do have like the Terminator and Echo and Sonic CD, all the classics, Earthworm Jim, etc. Super Nintendo 784. Nice to see. TurboGrafx 1694, Vectrex 26. And now here you have collections. You have everything from Atari Classics, Capcom Classics, Castlevania, CPS 1, 2, and 3, Data East. So you have all these collections here. Shoot 'em ups, Sonic, Zelda, custom collections you have. All right, and here we are in a track mode. As you see, you have 24 menu items here, which are all the systems. I can just go down, down, down. You see 7 out of 24, 8 out of 24. And so these are just all your systems. If you hit right, it'll go into the next system. If you hit A, it should go into the system as well. Watch, it should go into PSP Minis here. There you go. And now I'm in a room full of PSP Minis. Hit start, should take you back to the main menu, and then I'm back. I can go into Super Nintendo, for example, on 18 out of 24, and here I am in the Super Nintendo room. I can go right to left and go to the next system, so Atari's next, hit right again, Vectrex is next, hit right again, and now I'm in a track mode setup. Since we're here, this is really cool. All those same scripts you got in Emulation Station are all here as well. If you want to return to Emulation Station and set it as your default boot, you just click over to Emulation Station in this menu here, which is right here, switch to Emulation Station. All right, so if we go back, we can go back to the main menu. Retropie, we can go into TurboGrafx. Here we are in the TurboGrafx video snaps, looking really nice. We can go over to the right to the next, within television to the next, and then we have our arcade classics. Look at that. I love the arcade room. Love it. Really nice. And just to give this a test, let's go ahead and open up a, let's try Aliens. We click in. You can see VirtualMan has his own little loading screen in a track mode. Very cool. Something I didn't show you in Emulation Station is those same scripts are available in Emulation Station. So everything from changing your loading screens, changing the bezels, overclock script, change the date and time on Dreamcast script. All that stuff is available in Emulation Station RetroPie menu, back in a track mode. Let's go ahead and go back to Emulation Station. So a couple of other things I wanted to talk about as far as getting started is when you first boot up this image, you will see a little type prompt in the upper left-hand corner. It's just going to be a dashing line, and you want to go ahead and leave your Pi on for at least 3 minutes and let that. What that's doing is expanding your file system for you. It's automatic. Go ahead and unplug your Pi after those 3 minutes and plug it back in, and then you should boot up an Emulation Station, no problem. This thing does come pre-installed with background music, so if you want to turn that off, you're just going to go to RetroPie, and in the RetroPie menu, the second or third item is going to be background music. Click that. You can disable and enable your background music very easily. It's 15 top random splash screens, 31 top music collection. It's already shrunk, so it should fit the Samsung or the SanDisk. Once you get this all booted up and ready to go, you shouldn't have to do anything else. Everything else I showed in this video. As far as the collections, if you do want to get rid of these little collections down here, like Castlevania, things like that, just hit start, go to game collection settings, 26 selected, and unselect them, and then hit back, and you should be set. It also does come with some additional themes, and you can always add any other themes you want, but as you see a bunch of other Hursty themes. I have it on Showcase. It'll default boot into back to basics. Okay, but I have it on Showcase. It does have 18 gigabytes remaining on the 256 gigabyte SD card that I'm currently using, so you could definitely add a lot more Dreamcast, a lot more PlayStation, whatever else you want to add to this image. So there you have it, VirtualMan version 6.3 of its 256 gigabyte image. This will run for the Raspberry Pi 3B and B+. So if I were you, I would, and you are going to go a route of a something that's pre-set up for you, this is going to be it. I mean, it's huge, it's amazing, it'll work for all the Pis, a lot of work done on here. Shout out to VirtualMan. Shout out to all the other people that have helped. If it's similar people working on all of them: Richie Gigabyte, Death Row, Randy Slim, Tahidu, Haxel, 2Play, Dave Marty, Dwayne Hurst, and Mad Little Pixel as well. All those peeps he wants to give a shout out to, and then shout out to Vman himself. I'll put a link to the Discord down below. Please be respectful. Don't just ask, send them a thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed this. As I mentioned, even after the video now, this gets an A+ from me. Awesome to see a 256 with this much detail done to it, all the way up to date with 4.4. This is the first 4.4 image I've seen, and a 256 and one that's a version 6, so it's like all good. I mean, it's it's hard to find anything to say anything negative about it. Track mode, emulation station. If you got this far to the video and you skipped a little bit, I do recommend going back a few minutes to like how you set it up, because there's a little bit of a, if you on the first boot, you want to make sure you heard or read the part about how it needs to auto expand. Other than that though, it's awesome. I love it. I'm gonna be rocking this one for a while. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.